Hello,
Hello,
hello.
good morning.
Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are at in the world. And welcome
Yes.
to the Savanh Family Show. And we're here to talk to you today about how to really develop how to develop habits that stick. So, oftentimes we think that we have to take massive action, do all these big things, right? And really, it's just a accumulation of small, little steps, little improvements, little progresses that really will compound and accumulate into great results. So let's talk about how to make that happen today. So the big question is this: how do married couples like us, who have busy schedules, run high performing businesses, face challenges daily, raise multiple children,
And yet, still remain in love, passionate, and happy like when we first dated.
that is the question, and this show will give you the answers.
Welcome to the Savant Family Show.
Master your relationship, your life, and your business now. Welcome back. Yes, and hey, let's start with celebrating our wins and or sharing what we are actually grateful for. I know that we, as especially overachievers, we tend to spend a lot of time trying to get somewhere or be somewhere. So let us know in the comment section, what are you grateful for today, and what are you celebrating that you've done, maybe even this morning. So let us know there. Okay.
Yeah, so what are we grateful for, babe? I bet you potentially forgot. Today is the day that you asked me to be your girlfriend.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So obviously, I'm grateful for you, babe. Right? So, for sure. So, yes, I
Yes.
did forget.
It was
We
in
don't know
the
those things,
calendar.
So yeah, gotcha.
It was in the calendar, so it reminded me. I was like, oh, there you go. So, what are you grateful for? Are do you put all the important date on your calendar, so in the way even if you forget, your calendar will remind you for it.
Yes, yes. So we, I definitely have to get better at that. So yeah. So okay. So let's dive right into it, guys. Look, how to develop habits that stick today is what we're gonna talk about. The first takeaway that you want to that we want to do is really start simple. Start simple, right? What do you do? For example, for me, it's like if we want to achieve this massive result, right? A certain habit. Let's say, for example, losing weight. I remember when I wanted to lose, I was about 50 or 60 pounds overweight. And, one of the habits that I wanted to, the result, right, before even the habit, the result that I wanted to achieve was to lose, 50 pounds. And what did I do? The very first thing I did was the very first habit I did was really just to eat better, right? I didn't have to hit the gym for 20 hours or anything like that. So the very first simple thing that I did was just take my carbs out of my system. Stop eating simple carbs. That's it. So it's a huge step for most people, but that's what I mean by you start with something, right? Because there's in losing weight, there's like 10, 15, 20 things that you could do, and you just have to pick one and just stick to it and start with that one simple thing. So whatever the simplest thing for you is in those 15, 20 steps, and you do that. So for me, it was simple for me to just to not eat carbs. I know that's tough for some people, which that obviously don't use that as your simple step. Maybe it's something as walking 5 minutes a day extra, right, every day, or running, going outside and running, do speed running for a couple minutes every single day, something small like that, and eventually it'll catch up and you'll lose 50 pounds.
Yes, I totally agree with what he said. Start simple. The truth is, when I first come to the state, I don't really know how to speak English that well. So my baby step is I started to watch a lot of movies with subtitles, and then every time I see a new word, I just pronouncing it. And then I remember, when we talk about the sound, right? The description of a sound, like you just slam the door, right? There's this tick tock, right? I don't know what are those at the very beginning when I first come to the state, but starting small, I just started watching movies with subtitles, and I'm learning English through the subtitles. And 17 years, 16 years, 18 years now, how is my English? A lot of people say that I'm doing pretty good, and I just starting by watching videos with subtitles.
Yes, most definitely. And then the second takeaway that we're going to share with you is form a trigger to remind yourself, right? Form a trigger. And I don't know what you use, but one of my definitely triggers on my health journey is I often look at my old pictures a lot, right? And that triggers me to remind myself to stay in this zone, right? There's no, yeah, do I want to go back to that, right? How did I feel when I was, was like that, and do I want to go back to that feeling again, even though at that time might not have seen it, but I know that how I feel now, looking at myself now versus how I was before. So
Yes, one of the habit that I have developed is being very positive. Everything is a gift, and I think I also form a habit to trigger myself every time I feel sad. I'm gonna focus on what am I grateful for, so that I can bounce back to be in the happy and resourceful state. And and also attending a lot of Tony Robbins event, constantly repetition and other skills. It just constantly anchor us to make us understand that everything that we need is within us. We just need to make sure that we trigger it, so that we don't necessarily need to change us. We just have to change the pattern that form that habit.
yes, most definitely. And then takeaway 3 is remove a temptation. Remove temptation.
This one is hard for me.
Yeah. So yeah, it for me, removing temptation is like, when I one of the things that, again, for a lot of people, carbs, simple carbs like rice, noodles, bread are tough because I grew up with rice, right? She grew up with noodles, so I grew up with noodles as well. But remove those temptations. Like I just no is no, right? So for me, if I were to say I don't want to eat noodles anymore, because I can't, if I live by myself, for example, if I said, I want to cut away all my simple carbs, for me, how I remove my temptations is very simple. I take the rice, take the noodles, I throw them away. That's it, right? But most people can't do that. I know
Yes.
that. But you got to do something very, very small. So how do you remove temptations? Like, for example, if you want to lose weight and even exercise, you want to build yourself to work out for an hour a day, for example, right? And what do you do? The opposite of that, right? The opposite of that. Maybe it's a show, right? A show that you watch. Maybe you binge watch a Netflix series. So how do you remove the temptation? Just don't watch any more series. Don't start, because once you start, you keep going, right? So
That's a good one.
for me, one of my temptations is, yes, I don't watch. At the last series I watched, that was it. So if I find something, even though I want to watch it, I do not click on it whatsoever. I find a movie, or I click out, go to YouTube, whatever, watch something else, but I do not start a series anymore, because even though I love series on certain things, but right now in my life, there's certain things that I'm going through and things that I'm doing, I cannot afford to actually binge on Netflix series right now. So I remove that temptation. So
Absolutely. I totally agree with what he said, And Joe just came back and said that, step 3 is definitely the hardest. I think all of us get stuck in that part. Absolutely. I know that C's always wanted to get me into the no carb or minimum carb diet. And the truth is, my mother-in-law cook it all the time. I was like, how am I gonna, remove the carb? Because like every soon as you go to the kitchen, like it's a mountain full of carbs. I was like, oh, this is very tough. But whenever I go back to Asia, because Asian's food, I felt like it's very delicious, and we tend to eat a lot of veggie and all the food on the table. So then we minimize the intake of the rice and noodles, because the food is just so amazing. And I was like, man, that's true. So why I told C's, we need to actually go back there and live for a couple months, so that after I successfully lose weight, then I'll come back. So then I wouldn't crave for all the carbs.
yes, most definitely. And then number 4 is stay consistent. Stay consistent, right? So one of my journeys was losing weight and getting more fit than I used to be, and living a better lifestyle. So yeah, stay consistent. Do little things, right? Do you can't be perfect at all times. And I definitely not on my health journey, but at least I stay consistent in certain things. Maybe a little bit of exercising. Maybe I don't do my full hour anymore, but maybe I do a 30 minutes or 20 minutes. But stay consistent doing it. Eating right at night. Definitely no carbs. Don't want to do any carbs. I'll do my fruits or whatever it is. But just stay consistent at something, right? Small. Maybe you have 5 or 6 things, major changes that you've made, but staying consistent could be, even if you don't do all 5, maybe you do 1 or 2 of those things. Still stay consistent instead of giving it up altogether, right? So if you want to change habits of eating carbs, maybe it's staying consistent with saying how many carb noodles I eat, maybe packages noodles a week, maybe I just gotta not get rid of it altogether, but change it up and maybe if you do 5, then maybe do 3. You know what I mean? So just make it a habit.
Yeah, stay consistent. I decided that I'm gonna be a happy person. So every time in front of the camera, I'm sunshine and a unicorn. So I'm always happy, and I know that have influenced a lot in my life because growing up it wasn't in the most positive environment. So a lot of times you just get into the negative mode. But right now, everything that I look at is, what's the gift that we get out of it? How can I be in the most best state to get it? The truth is, is there going to be days that you're just not going to be yourself and you're just not going to be the one that you really want to be? Absolutely. Because we're all human beings, right? There's going to be up and there's going to be down. However, how can you stay consistent? Time it down below. Let us know. How do you stay consistent in whatever that you believe that you wanted to achieve?
Yes.
And the truth is, all of us have achieved something, have changed at least one habit and have developed at least one habit that really stick.
Yes, most definitely.
So to summarize everything.
Yeah, so how to develop habits that stick. 4 steps. 1, start simple. Simple things. You don't have to take massive action right away. You take massive action, but you do small little steps. Okay. Form a trigger to remind yourself all the time. Remove temptation, as much temptation as you possibly can, and stay consistent, right? Stay consistent with that. Again, if you have 5 things that you're trying to make major changes, stay consistent with all 5 or at least some parts of it. Okay?
Yes. So that's it for today. The question of today is, how do you develop a habit that stick?
Yes.
Put it down right below, and we would love to see what that would be for you.
Yes, most definitely. Thank you guys very much. We love you. We'll see you in the next show. If you like this show, subscribe now.
Remember, mastery starts here.
See you on the next show.